Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for this video because this video is serving two purposes. First purpose is I am finally going to get to all of the new releases, or not all of them, some of the new releases that just came out in the month of April that I have not been able to read. And I think these books are going to be so good that I'm going to be seeing how many of them are 5 stars, because I am predicting that at least one will be a 5-star, and hopefully all 3 of them will. I'm gonna shoot for it. Hopefully, crossing fingers, we have 3 5-star books in this video. So we're going to really quickly, let's talk about the books that I plan on reading. So like I said, I have 3 books that I'm going to be reading in this video. They are 3 books by 3 different authors that I have read quite a bit of. So the first book is Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer. I have been dying to read this book. I love all of Abby Jimenez's books, and we're finally going to be diving into Just for the Summer. The other book that we're going to be reading is Elsie Silver's Wild Love. This is book 1 of her new, I think it's like it's supposed to be kind of a cowboy romance, I think, but I don't know how cowboy-ish it is. I know Chestnut Springs was a cowboy romance, but I don't know if this is going to be more small town romance or if it's going to be cowboy. So I think it falls in the realm of the Chestnut Springs world, but I don't think this is actually a cowboy romance. But I think this is going to be more like small town romance. But I'm very excited for a Chelsea Silver book. And then the last book, Funny Story by Emily Henry. So this is going to be the 3rd book that we're going to be reading. I did check on my Storygraph because, like I said, I have read all of these authors before. And I wanted to kind of go back and look and see what I read previously and what I rated them. So I have on my little iPad here, That Is Dead. Awesome. So not on my iPad, on my phone. We're going to be going to my Notion because I did go back and document all of the books that I have read by these authors and what I rated them. So we will be looking at that. For Abby Jimenez, I have read 5 of her books. I read Yours Truly, which I actually gave 5 stars. I read Part of Your World, which I gave 4 stars. Friend Zone was 4.5. Happy Ever After Playlist was 4 stars, and Life's Too Short was 4.5, for an overall average of 4.4. So overall, Abby Jimenez books I definitely enjoy. For Elsie Silver, I read all of the Chestnut Springs books. So I read, and these are not in order because I really don't remember the order of them all, but Flawless, 4.5, Heartless, 4.5, Powerless, 4.75, Reckless, 4.75, and Hopeless was 3.5, for an overall average of 4.4 also. And then Emily Henry, I've only read 2 of her books. I read Beach Read, which was 4.5, and then Happy Place was 4.75. I'm going to caveat that I feel like that I rated too high because I have not thought about that book since. Could not tell you any of the characters' names. I know the basic premise of what that story was, but I read it and it was out of my brain. 4.75 is very high for me to rate something and completely forget everything that happened in that book. The only reason I know the characters' names are Harriet and Wynne is because I gave that book to my daughter to read. Otherwise, I would have never remembered what the names were. So I think 4.75 is way too high for that book. That is probably more of a 3.5 book for me. But we're going to go with 4.75 just because that's what I have on my Storygraph, which puts that average for Emily Henry at 4.625. So all of these authors are very highly rated by me. Abby Jimenez is the only author of the 3 that I have rated a 5-star for. But I'm hoping that this will be a 5-star, this will be a 5-star, and this will be a 5-star. So that is what this video is going to be all about. I am going to go ahead and tell you that I have already started Just for the Summer, and I started it last night at like 9 p.m. and it is 5 p.m. the next day, and I worked for 10 hours today. So we're just going to put in that I've probably only been like actively reading for probably maybe 5 hours. I'm just going to guess 5 hours. And I am already on chapter 20, page 184. This also is on Spotify as an audiobook, and it is a dual narrator, which I appreciate. And so I've been listening to this on audio while I've been in my car, like going back and forth to appointments. So this so far has been so good. I've been laughing out loud, and I have really, really, really been enjoying this book. I'm concerned because people say that you're going to cry in this book, and so far I have not felt any emotions in it, but I don't know what's going to happen. But so far I am so enjoying it. I am loving Justin. That is what we are reading now, and so far it is going so well. It is so good. So we're gonna go and finish reading. So, editing Heidi here, and I am back as a really quick voiceover to let you know that I did not do a wrap up or overall thoughts when I finished Just for the Summer and before I jumped into Funny Story, so we're gonna do that now. So, Just for the Summer, I ended up rating that 4.75. It was not a 5-star, but it was so close to being a 5-star. I may end up upgrading it if I continue to think about the book, because I have thought about it every day just about since I have finished reading it. But right now, I'm still going to say 4.75. It was a very, very, very good book. I think it was one of my favorite Abby Jimenez books that I have ever read so far. And I really did enjoy the relationship. I absolutely love Justin. He was just the perfect MMC, and I loved how he would try to think of everything that he possibly could to make the dates enjoyable for Emma, and really took the time to get to know her and listen to her, and just everything with Justin was so perfect. He was the perfect MMC. I don't know if I have read a romance book with an MMC that I enjoyed more, just because of how sweet and caring and thoughtful he was. So, amazing book. So glad I finally read it. 4.75. Could be a 5-star at a later time, but just shy of hitting that 5-star mark. It didn't give me that feeling. But overall, an amazing book. And I also jumped into Funny Story, and we're going to now be able to see what my thoughts are after finishing Funny Story. All right, I have an update. So, I just finished Funny Story, and I gotta say, this is probably my favorite Emily Henry book so far. I did say at the beginning of the video that I rated Happy Place 4.75, but I thought that was way too high because I really did not enjoy that book. I couldn't tell you what the characters' names are. I couldn't tell you kind of what happened in the book. Like, it's very vague, and for books that I rate highly, typically those are the books that I remember the characters. I remember what happened. I might not remember every single thing that happened in the book, but I have like a general sense of what went down. In Happy Place, couldn't tell you. So I really think that's probably more of like a 3.75 instead of a 4.75. Funny Story though, I actually really enjoyed this. Unfortunately, I did not have that 5-star feel. I am going to get this for 4.75 because it's right there. I really did enjoy Daphne, and I liked Miles, and I liked the concept of roommates to friends to lovers, like that evolution of their relationship. I really enjoyed. I felt like it was kind of, you could see that happening. Like, you could see the story, maybe not like I don't really think it happens very often where the main character, the female main character's fiance calls off the wedding and gets with the MMC's fiance, they break up, and then like the relationship, like the swap. I don't really think that would happen in real life often, if at all. But I think the relationship evolution, like the roommates to friends to lovers, is much more realistic, and I can definitely see that happening. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed Funny Story. Not a 5-star, kind of upsetting, but it was so close. It was so close to a 5-star. I just did not have that feeling. So that means the last book that we have is going to be Wild Love. Now, I'm really hoping that this will be a 5-star. I really enjoy Elsie Silver's writing. I really enjoyed Abby Jimenez's writings, and Just for the Summer was still 4.75. So that book still hadn't given a 5-star. So this book is the hinge on whether I will find a 5-star in this video. Hoping, crossing fingers, that I will get a 5-star out of this book, but we will have to see. So this book is a small town romance, and it is, from what I understand, it is the brother of a Chestnut Springs female main character. So this is the brother of one of the girls in the Chestnut Springs series. So I don't really know whose sister that this main character is associated with, but they are interconnected. So I don't know if that sister is going to show up in this book, but I do know he is a billionaire. So we love our billionaire romances. Small town, and I think this ends up being like a best friend's sister type romance. So I think the billionaire falls in love with his best friend's little sister. I think. I could be wrong, but that's kind of my gist of it. So we're going to start this, and we're really going to hope that this ends up being a 5-star. I'm crossing my fingers that I'll be able to get it as a 5-star, but I don't really know. One of the things I will go ahead and say that on all of Elsie Silver's books, I have read on Kindle Unlimited. So if you are interested in reading this book and you don't want to get the physical copy, this is available on Kindle Unlimited. So I will be reading this on Kindle, but I do have the hard copy because I really wished I would have bought the Chestnut Springs original covers, like the mirrored covers, when they first came out. And I just like the design of this cover, so I just decided to go ahead and get the physical copy of this book. So that is what we are reading, and we're hoping that this will be a 5-star. Alright, we are wrapping up this video because I have finished Wild Love. I honestly finished it a while ago. I have had some mouth dental issues that have stopped me from wanting to record, so I finished this book probably a little over a week ago, and now I feel comfortable enough that I can do a little bit of talking on my thoughts on this book. So originally, I rated this 4.75, so I did not give it a 5-star. However, because I have had some time to think about it, I think I've actually bumped it up to 5. I've changed it on my Goodreads and I've changed it on my Storygraph to a 5-star because after I got done reading it, I kept going back to this book. So some of the things that I really enjoy in books are text messages, emails, notes, like writing notes back and forth. I don't know what it is. I feel like that is a realistic way that people communicate, especially like if you have a crush or you have a boyfriend or girlfriend. Like that's just how you communicate sometimes. Like you just sometimes aren't talking to them 24/7. We're scooting back some. And so anytime there's like that texting or emails or anything like that in a book, I don't know what it is. It's just, it always elevates the story in my mind much higher. So this is a story about Ford, which I love Ford. and it has Rosie. So Rosie is her brother is Ford's best friend, little sister. So Rosie is kind of the off limits. Like he never felt like he could like her or anything. Like he always had that, put up that wall when it came to Rosie, because while he really, really, really liked her when they were teenagers, it was always like, that's my best friend's little sister, kind of stay away, in that like forbidden type thing. And so when she comes back into the story, like years later, she comes back into his life, and he still has that same feeling like, this is my best friend's little sister, but she's kind of wormed her little way into his life. And just the things that, like how they communicate, like the emails that they have, it's just so funny. Like let me see if I can find one. I flagged a lot of their messages back and forth, and like one of the emails I just flipped to was my tooth is gonna come off. Hold please. All right, I don't know where I was, because as I was talking about Wild Love, my temporary crown came off of my tooth, so I had to run downstairs and put some Orajel on because my dentist is not open today. Yay. But as I was saying, Wild Love, so they do emails because she is his like assistant, and so she has to like send emails back and forth about like the business and the accounting and all that kind of stuff. But what's funny is the way she addresses him, and like her signature block, and then his corresponding signature block that changes after her emails. It's just hilarious. So for instance, she's emailing him about an event to see if he wants to attend, and in the signature block she has respectfully Rosalie Belmont, and then her like job title underneath it says Dick Manager, because like he's been acting like a dick. So then in the responding email that Ford sends back to Rosie, he says, "Dearest Dick Manager, thank you for passing this along. You can RSVP for me in a +1. Have a happy day. Ford Grant, CEO and head Dick at Rose Hill Records." And it's just every time that the emails go back and forth, she'll like change her job title name, and then he'll correspond his like opening and his job title to kind of bounce off each other. Like the banter between them are just so good. And I had to bump this up from a 4.75 to a 5-star, just because I kept thinking about the story and about Ford and Rosie, and like just the emails back and forth, like the text messages that he would have. She would give him like her journal entries from when they were like a kid. She would send him like some of her entries just so he could see how she felt back when they were like teenagers. And it was just, there was so much that I so enjoyed in this book. I had to end up bumping it up to a 5-star. It was just so good. So in this video, of the 3 books that I read just for the summer by Abby Jimenez, not a 5-star, but was 4.75. So good. So much enjoyed this book. This is definitely going to be a reread for me, because I have a feeling I'm going to remember this book, and I'm just going to keep thinking about it, and it could eventually, upon a reread, this could be a 5-star. But after reading it, I did think about it, but I haven't really thought about it enough to where I needed to bump this up. So while I did enjoy the relationship between Justin and Emma, it was not enough that I think it was a 5-star. So 4.75, still very good. Still a Abby Jimenez stan. Love her and all of her books. Then we have Emily Henry's Funny Story. This one again was not a 5-star, but it was a 4.75. This is probably, I want to say this is tied with Beach Read. Beach Read is the other book that I really, really enjoyed of Emily Henry's, but they're both not 5-star books. I do plan on rereading this one again because I did enjoy it, and I did think this could potentially be a 5-star in the future, but it was a little bit harder for me to get the relationship between the two now that I'm like, it's been read a while ago. I haven't really been thinking about the story or the characters. I will say the story, the premise behind the story is very unique. I have not read anything similar to that before, so I will give it that. That is probably one of the things that made this such a high ranking, because a lot of romance books, they're the same premise. Essentially, like, you have the same, like, relationship tropes, but I feel like this one just gave a little bit of a spin. It was just something that you weren't expecting and something that I have never read about before. So that was what was originally, it catapulted to at least a 4.5. And then I just really did enjoy the writing, and I did like the characters, but I just didn't feel the relationship, and I didn't have that 5-star feel for this story. And so while it was a very good book, it wasn't 5-star. So we did read this, and it was 4.75. And then we ended this video with a 5-star. We have Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This is Ford. This is Rosie. This is brother's little, or best friend's little sister. This was kind of forbidden romance. This was workplace romance. This was childhood friends to lovers, or like frenemies to lovers. It was so good. Really enjoyed it. Definitely have been thinking about this book after I got finished reading it over a week ago, and it was so good. I cannot wait to see the next book in the series, because this is book 1 of the Rose Hill series, and I'm very interested to see who's going to be in the next book and where the stories are going to go and what characters are going to be captured in this book. So, loved it. 5-star. So, so, so good. And with that, that is going to be the end of this video. This video has been going on for so long just because I've had things happen and I have not wanted to record. So, I greatly appreciate everybody who has stuck around. If you have read any of these books, let me know if you gave any of them 5 stars. What were your thoughts about them? Did you like them? Did you not like them? If you made it also to this part of the video, go ahead and leave me a, let's do a $sign emoji, because Wild Love is a billionaire romance, and we love reading billionaire romances. So if you've made it to this part of the video, leave me a $sign video. In addition, if you have read any of these books, let me know what your thoughts were. And with that, thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, please make sure you do so. I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see everybody in my next video. Bye!